Receivers taken around 6. We got Parker Washington taken by the Jaguars with the 185th pick. Keyshawn Boutte taken by the Patriots with the 187th pick. Trey Palmer, 191 pick by the Bucks. A.T. Perry was picked 195 by the Saints. Elijah Higgins, new Miami Dolphin, with the 197th pick. Xavier Hutchinson. Oh, there is some names down here. 205th pick. Andre
Josephus.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, you're killing it, Dan. 206th pick by the Bengals and Demario Douglas pick by the Patriots at 210th pick. Coach Steve, there's some talent here. Are any of these guys making your dynasty roster, or are you just going to be scrapped in the waiver wire before everyone else gets them?
Four of them, I do like that I could consider taking in my fourth round of my dynasty league, depending on what my needs are at the time. Boutte from the Patriots is an interesting play. If he ends up being end up being a big slot role for this offense here. Again, I wasn't too crazy about his talent overall, but if he can find a way to make it work for the New England, they have an openings at wide receiver outside of Juju Smith-Schuster. So he has potential to maybe do something as a 6th round pick. Again, it's minimal, and you take him late in the 4th round of your rookie drafts and see if maybe that young breakout age he had can eventually regain itself and do something at the NFL level. A.T. Perry, I like him. I liked him a little bit coming before the draft here. I think he lands in a good situation with the Saints. The Saints don't have a lot outside of Chris Olave. Michael Thomas is there, but we don't know if he'll ever actually play again. They have Rashad Rashid, but again, he wasn't undrafted, or I think he was a late round pick in drafts last year. So A.T. Perry could come in and provide, depth as a wide receiver 3 for this team early on. So he's an interesting option for me. Xavier Hutchinson, I was very high on him. He was in my top 10. Again, I think he falls in a situation where if you look at the Texans receivers, just like we talked about with Tank Dell, they're very beatable. So if Hutchinson is a bigger bodied wide receiver, again, reminded me of Michael Pittman. If he can make a name for himself, I think that's possible to do. So he's definitely someone in my 4th round of my rookie drafts I'm looking to take. And the guy from Princeton, the kid from Princeton, who went to the Bengals. Again, he's probably more of like wait until after the draft to get him, but he intrigues me too. Just like we talked about Charlie Jones, the Bengals could be going through new wide receivers the following year. He is a fast wide receiver, track star. Definitely someone I'm interested to see if maybe he can stick out and be the 5th wide receiver on this team this coming year. And then maybe have a bigger role at 24. So those are my 4 guys. Everyone else, I'm not really too interested in drafting. Even the Miami guy, he might even be a tight end. So
I was gonna say, wasn't Elijah Higgins announced as a tight end at the draft? I'm very confused because. Well, you go ahead.
I was like, he's still listed a lot of places as a split wide receiver tight end. So I don't know if that's been official
because
what he wants to do.
The person at the podium announced tight end Elijah Higgins, but everywhere, like graphics wise, it said wide receiver. So I actually don't know like when that gets resolved, the designation, because I mean, it's a 6th rounder. So the 5th year option isn't a thing. You don't have to worry about that. But like, God forbid the kid breaks out and he gets franchise tagged. What does he get tagged as?
They'll probably figure that over the next couple months and get that done with. I'm sure they'll have him like announce an actual position by the time they get to training camp.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, like, they're probably like, franchise tag. We don't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah, you probably won't get that.
No offense to Elijah. I met him. He's a very nice kid. He's him and Michael Wilson. They both went to Stanford, and they're like exceptionally well spoken and really nice to talk to, and like probably 2 of the smartest guys that I talked to at the Senior Bowl.
Smart people in Miami.
So I'm going to go down this list. Parker Washington, special teamer. Keyshawn Boutte. I think on this show previously that I'm going to let the NFL draft tell me what to do with him, and they told me all right. They said, "Hey Dan, just forget about him." Andre Josephus, he is like a world class, like Olympic speed track star.
Yes.
So I think he's going to be a special teamer. Demario Douglas, special teams. Elijah Higgins, we still haven't figured out what position he's playing, which is a concern. I would say Xavier Hutchinson and Trey Palmer are the 2 that I like the most out of this group. Trey Palmer, because the Buccaneers are in a very awkward spot, similar to the Rams. Like, it actually looks very similar if you look at it. They went all in, they won a title, and now the roster is just cheeks. So, maybe the Rams are crashing for Caleb and the Bucs are disappointing for Drake. And it's all going to be for nothing because the Texans are going to finish with the number 1 overall pick that belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. So, hey, look how good that Will Anderson trade is going to work out in a year. So I would say if I was taking flyers the end of my rookie drafts at any of these players, it'd be Xavier Hutchinson and then also Trey Palmer. Those would be like my 2 guys. But like I said, we're talking late 5th at that point.
Of course.
Late 5th. And these guys are probably going undrafted in your Dynasty leagues. You have Antoine Green taken by the Lions with the 219th pick. Colton Dow taken by the Titans, 228th pick. Jalen Brooks by the Cowboys with the 244th pick. Ronnie Bell taken by the 49ers. Grant Dubois taken by the Packers. Undrafted restricted free agents. You have Matt Landers, Mitchell Tinsley, Joseph Ngata, Jalen Wade, Bryce Ford Wheaton. We have we have Dante Demis and Rakim Jarrett to round out this group. Do you believe in any of these guys?
I will say that I am either taking with the last pick in the 5th round or adding after the draft Bryce Ford Wheaton in all my leagues.
Mm-hmm.
He is, I believe he's like 6'2", 6'3", very large wide receiver out of West Virginia. And his RAS testing was like off the chart. His knock was drops and like body control issues. But like I said, the Giants have a lot of small guys. So if he can get onto that roster, make the team, and get his hands, under control, he very clearly has the ability to earn playing time for the Giants. So it's one like I think I said this before on the show that with these later prospects, I'm looking for like outliers profile-wise, and Bryce Ford Wheaton's athleticism combined with his frame, given the draft class, I consider an outlier. So he's definitely somebody I would make sure to either draft at the end of your rookie draft or pick up to put on your taxi squad after the draft is over. Besides that's it though. That's all I got for this group.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the similar boat. There's one more I'll mention real quick. Yeah, Bryce Ford Wheaton, definitely someone you should pick up last pick or so of your drafts or right after the draft's over, because there's potential being a different type of wide receiver than basic everything all the Giants has. Antoine Green is interesting to me just because of the Jameson Williams situation. I know they have, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones, Raymond sitting over there, but Green was a deep ball specialist. Interesting to see if maybe he can kind of stick that roster and maybe make a role for himself. Again, it's probably like after your draft, add him to your taxi squad bench if you have an extra spot to see, but that's really about it with this group.